How do you see the next few months playing out?
It's funny. I actually tweeted like a little bit of a thread about that today too. Which, I think we're sort of in like phase 3 or 4 of like the 5 phase stage, which I was seeing, which was like the pre-Trump's pre-election stage was like, railing on mail-in ballots, like you were talking about, saying that they were fraudulent, that this wasn't a safe way to run an election. The doubt was sowed. Phase 2 was election day, immediately post-election, flood the zone with like anything that had a peculiar whiff, and claiming that this was proof of election fraud, which was how my thread started and how my coverage on this started, was sort of going through and analyzing some of those claims. Phase 3 was the court cases, which were sort of coming to an end now, I think. They have a few more things they're saying they're going to file, but so far they're 1 in 29 in post-election court cases, in terms of they've won one and they've had 29 dismissed, or they've conceded and withdrew the allegations. So I think we're about wrapping that up. And then phase 4 is going to be the pressure that we're seeing now, which is Trump and his team going after the actual state electors who are responsible for certifying the vote. That's going to be pretty interesting to watch play out. But I don't think anything's ultimately going to change there. I mean, we saw in the one county in Michigan, in Wayne County, that they were deadlocked, and then they broke the deadlock. And then after the Republican electors had like a huge pour of criticism, and some of them got death threats, and some really ugly stuff happened that should not happen, and they reversed their decision to block the vote, to block the certification. And now they're saying they want to undo that, which they can't legally do. So those votes are certified, and the state electors in Michigan are going to certify the vote. I mean, I would be absolutely shocked if they didn't. They've said publicly already that they haven't seen any credible evidence of widespread fraud, so they're planning to certify the votes. And I think that phase 4 is where we are now, basically, which is all the focus on certification. That's going to happen between now and Christmas.
And real quick, there was some success in Detroit with not having the vote certified, correct?
Sort of, yeah. I mean, basically, the county certifies the vote first, and then it goes to the state. And if the county can't certify the vote, then the state has the ultimate say. So the state can certify a county's vote without the county certifying it. So the fact that they deadlocked was very newsy, because that never happens. And the 2 Republicans who said that they weren't going to certify the vote, basically every board has 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans. They said that they weren't certifying it because they had questions that still weren't answered about the integrity of the vote. But it was very clearly targeted in areas in Detroit that are heavily Black, heavily Democratic. So a lot of the response to it from the left was like, this is either racist, or this is a clear suppression of just Democratic votes and not votes elsewhere. They were trying to certify every county except the county that encompassed Detroit. And the Republican state electors, who have more power than them, same deal, 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats at the state level. The 2 Republicans have already said publicly, they've really worded the statements very carefully to sort of not piss anybody off, but they've basically said, we're going to certify the vote unless we see any proof of widespread fraud. And that has not happened. So I don't expect that they're going to hesitate to certify the votes. I think it'll happen soon. And every state certification process, the deadlines are different. Again, this is why the American election system has some serious flaws, because it's not nationalized. And I don't know if nationalizing it is the solution, but we're seeing the flaws of the state system now. But between now and Christmas, I think we'll see all those votes certified. Once that happens, the phase 5 to me is like Republicans sort of start abandoning Trump. The court cases die. Biden gets inaugurated, and it becomes like a smaller subset of 10 or 15% of the country that claiming the election was stolen and fraud and whatever. And that, I don't know what Trump's going to do, if he's going to run in 2024, if he starts campaigning, if he starts a media company. But I think he's the the elected Republicans are going to start to jump ship pretty soon. Some of them already are in the last week. But once the certification happens, that'll kind of be that'll be like the end of it, really.